I've got to get one beer.
Ben,
sorry.
please.
Oh, look, I haven't been home for 3 days.
Just 3, please.
4 days. Good night, everyone.
Snooker was about to be relaunched in a brand new vehicle, colour television.
And first of all, let's meet Alex Higgins. And his opponent, Doug Mountjoy. In comes referee Sidney Lee, and your commentator is Ted Lowe.
From Ireland, Alex Hurricane Higgins.
This was a whole new world of snooker, and the star of the spectacle, the Hurricane.
Everybody knows they'll be shooting when he gets into town. 'Cause everywhere he goes, trouble always seems to follow him round. His reputation's that of the fastest gun. Across the nation, the Cuban to take him on. This is game, rolling fame, and his name, the Hurricane. Hot shot.
When Alex Higgins burst on the scene, he was the breath of fresh air that the game had sort of wanted.
He was a major player in bringing about and changing the perception of snooker.
He was ahead of his time. You know, if he was around now, someone like Barry Hearn and Simon Cowell, they'd be like, you know what, we need this man.
That's why he was the jewel in the crown for so long. He was the sort of guy that everybody wanted to watch.
And I didn't have time to do my hair.
Snooker mostly spent its time trying to achieve respectability, and that was not the kind of thing that Alex was interested in. He was contemptuous of authority.
I like all the things that a fella at 25 likes, including my wine, women and song. And I don't think I should be deprived of that sort of thing just because I play snooker.
Give me that package. I'll have that rather than someone who's a steady player and it does some amazing shots, but he was never predictable.
Everyone loves a bad boy, don't they? Women in particular love vulnerable bad boys.
His army of supporters tended to attract or include those people who had not much good to say about established authority either.
You've got to think about some of his friends, you know, Oliver Reed, Keith Moon. This wasn't a guy who hung around with snooker players particularly. He hung around with the glitterati.
The more outrageous things one does these days, the more publicity you get and the more famous you become and the more money you earn.
He was a showboater and he loved adulation, whereas Hendry or Davis, for example, would focus. Nothing existed outside that green base. Higgins, you know, he'd turn up with the Stetson on, or when the WPBSA tried to make an example of him, sometimes with good reason because he misbehaved, they tried to get him to wear a tie.
But he'd forever be taking them off and whipping it away like that. So somewhere down the line, he was under disciplinary action for not wearing a bow tie. And I always felt it was quite ironic that a number of years later, we decided to try and capture the market of the younger generation by wearing coloured shirts and no bow ties. And then if you did wear a white shirt and a bow tie, you would be disciplined. And I always felt that Alex would have just loved that, because that would be the first time he would have worn a white shirt and a bow tie.
Alex Higgins was the people's champion, but the people expected, demanded a non-stop performance from their champion.
He's the sort of guy that when he played snooker, he felt compelled to entertain people. It wasn't just to win the game. If it meant that him taking a chance or taking a risk, he went out on a limb just to give people the form of entertainment that they had never had before.
I think that Alex loved the limelight even more than he loved winning.
He loved to take the exhibition snooker sometimes into the match snooker, and the crowd would be behind him and he'd play a flare shot and it could cost him dearly.
Alex led Cliff Thorburn 9-5 in the 1980 World Final, and to achieve that lead he played a very measured, balanced game. But somehow or other that wasn't enough for him, and when he had that lead he started to open up, play to the gallery rather more, and Cliff Thorburn was too good a player to take that sort of liberty with. The Death or Glory shootout was what I think he was unconsciously hungering for underneath all the time. And of course, if it comes down to virtually the turn of a card, you can always lose in that situation, and I think he lost more close ones than he actually won.
The 80 World Championships is a good example where he was looking to shock. He was looking to amaze you, and he weren't fighting Joe Frazier, but it was the same feeling in his head. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to win it his way.
Alex, a tribute from a champion there, and you know what the crowd think about it, but you must at the moment be the most disappointed man in the world.
I've had disappointments before, but I'll bounce back. The thing is, I lost the match, really, the third session, when I was 7-3 in front. My old crowd pleasing bit come back again.
Yes.
But it's hard to live with. But I mean, I do, but I'll bounce.
He was a player of great moments competitively rather than a great player in terms of consistency. But that was part of his attraction because you never quite knew what was coming next.
In the new age of snooker, there would soon be a fresh crop of outrageous talents. Cue Jimmy White in the semi-final of the World Championship of 1982 when the Whirlwind met the Hurricane.
Jimmy and Alex are absolute best friends. They loved each other. And it's very hard when you're playing your best friend. You know, Jimmy modelled his game on Alex.
I was watching him putting these drinks down and I was thinking, well, you know, this has got to be in my favour somewhere along the line, but he produced.
Jimmy looked like he might win the world title that year. Probably was favourite.
You get the feeling, Jack, this could be the winning break.
13.
They reckon it was one of the greatest matches ever. You know, I didn't have any safety game at the time. I was just going for everything.
And that really is a delightful shot to get around the angles, getting on the right side of all the reds.
I was just pleased to be playing him. You know, I was just delighted to be playing my hero in the World Championship.
So Alex breathes again. 59 points in front now. And still enough points on the table for Alex if he can just take his opportunity.
I think he only played his best when he was back to the wall. The pressure was on. Nobody thought he had a chance. And he would somehow manage to get his way out of trouble.
He almost missed the first shot, and because of that he lost position on his intended colour, which from memory was pink to middle, and this left him with a safety or a long green, and without hesitation he just swept in this long green, which as it happened was a natural cannon onto a safe red on the other side cushion.
Fantastic long green he plotted there. That was the only time he didn't drink, was when he was on the table.
When you talk about perfect clearance, was far from it. That's what made it so exciting, because till he got to the last thread, he lost position on every shot. There was one shot at one time that he could have snookered Jimmy behind the yellow, but he decided to take the black on in the left-hand black pocket.
And he kept grinning up. I think it might even have been to John Spencer, I think, who was in the commentary box, as if to say, well, you know, what did you think of that shot? You know, because he pulled off some of the most extraordinary pots in that break.
Now another difficult red into the centre pocket.
And he asked the referee on a number of occasions, you know, what's left, and then he would work it out, and then he would swing around the table and look into the audience and wink and smile. It was great. It was great to watch. It was another element to snooker that we hadn't seen before.
And later in that break he played another extraordinary shot. It was a screw back from the blue, which was on its spot.
And Alex not able to afford any mistakes, or else it could be the end of the match.
I've set it up a few times, and I don't know how he created so much backspin with a flick of his wrist.
Looks as if it was going for the blue into the top right-hand corner. And then another tremendous shot.
He actually